Welcome to another episode of Alpha Audio. Today we are going to talk about ROON Arc. Well, what is ROON Arc? What can you do with it? And what are its competitors? Check it out. Well, for all the ROON users out there, this probably isn't news because ROON actually launched ROON Arc a couple of weeks ago. And in that email they said, well, it's launched, you can use it, you can just switch it on and you can download the ROON Arc app and you can start streaming. But before we get into the settings, let's first explain what ROON Arc actually is. Because, well, why is it launched and what is it? To put it very simply, ROON Arc is your personal streaming service. You have your ROON Core running somewhere, maybe on a laptop, maybe on a Intel NUC, or maybe even on your own NAS drive. Well, if it's running on a form of computer, it's probably streaming only inside your network, in your internal network, your home network. But yeah, why not use it on your holiday or on the road? Just put your phone in the car and stream from your own ROON Core. Well, that's what's possible now. And you could do it before, honestly. It was possible with a very complex hack. You create your own VPN server, log into that VPN server, connect to the ROON Core and then start streaming. But it was very complex. And for most users, way too complicated. So ROON actually listened to its community that said, yeah, we got all this music on our network sitting there. We can use it only inside the network. Why not make it possible to stream externally? Well, apart from maybe some legal issues, ROON actually dug into it and made it very, very easy to start streaming outside the network. Well, that's what ROON Arc is. It's your own streaming server and streaming service. Well, the thing is, you probably got used to using ROON. The interface is very, very good. Maybe other apps are not as user-friendly, so you want the ROON experience, but then outside your house. Well, if you just go to the settings and then switch on ROON Arc. You can also do that on the desktop application. Open the desktop application, go to settings, go to ROON Arc and switch it on. That's it. Then you simply download the ROON Arc app and you can start streaming. That really is everything you need to do. It's amazing. I've never ever seen such a simplified setup. It's literally 2 clicks. And when you're in the ROON Arc app, well, the menu is practically the same as the ROON app that you use for streaming inside your own home network. Well, then if we look at what you can actually do with ROON Arc, you can stream everything you have in your own library, and you can use, if you have that, the Tidal login and the Cobus login. The integration is exactly the same. So you have your own library, your own playlists, your own radio stations. Everything you got on your home network is now in a mobile app. And that makes it one experience for playing music inside your network and outside your network. So inside your home and outside your home. So they did it very, very well. Are they the best on the market? Maybe, but there are of course competitors. We've been using Plex for a long, long time now, because honestly it was the only, for us, my opinion, the only high-end experience that I have with multimedia streaming. And that's a big difference, the part multimedia. ROON Arc is completely focused on music. It's optimized for music. You know, why do we use ROON? Well, as a reviewer, it's very easy because I can practically review every device with the same backbone, ROON. That makes it easy for me. I can use my playlists and my preferences, my preferred settings, everything with every review item I have. If there's no ROON integration, there probably is UPnP implementation, but then I use Bubble UPnP and then I get this culture shock in user friendliness. I mean, Bubble UPnP is very good, but ROON is simply better. The experience is so good. You have all the artist information. You have ROON Radio that, well, I've discovered new music thanks to ROON. And of course, Tidal has recommended artists and recommended music, but it's just not as good as ROON. And Qobuz, well, it's starting to do that, but what they advise is sometimes just hilarious compared to what I was listening to. I mean, if I'm listening to, let's say, Radiohead, and then it says, yeah, well, we have BZN as well. It's a Dutch band. It's pretty bad. Literally, I get the most hilarious recommendations from Tidal and Qobuz actually. Spotify does a good job, but you know what I mean. ROON is focused on music, and the whole experience and user interface is made for discovering and playing music. With Plex, it's really different. If you look at the interface for ROON Arc, you have the same user experience as with the desktop app and the normal ROON app. If I go to Plex, let's open Plex, you'll definitely notice a big difference. Plex is made for all forms of media, including films, series, photos, music videos, everything. So the home screen recommends, well, you can tweak it and you can tune it to your own liking, but it's focused on doing more than just music. Plex is remarkably good and it's platform independent, so it works on everything you want. It can run on a NAS, it can run on a NUC, it can run on a phone, it can run on, well, pretty much everything actually, a Raspberry Pi if you like. But the whole experience is much broader than just ROON with ROON Arc. Besides that, there is another caveat. ROON Arc is not heavy. I mean, if you run it on a NUC, it will run fine. If you run it on a NAS, it will run fine. It's dependent on your upload speed. And let's get into that, because now we're diving a little bit deeper. If you run ROON in your internal network, it will probably run on a gigabit. And most networks are 1000 megabits in bandwidth. If you run it with Wi-Fi, it depends on the strength of your Wi-Fi. Most of the time, music won't eat up a lot of bandwidth. Let's say a normal CD quality song will do maximum of 1.4 megabits per second. If it's CD quality, it's 1.4 megabits a second. If you go into high res, 24 bits, 192 kilohertz, will probably go up to 10 megabits. DSD, around the same. That's not an issue in an internal network, because most of the time your bandwidth will be sufficient. Otherwise you get stuttering and you will optimize your network because it doesn't work. If you go and stream your music to the phone that's in your car, you're completely dependent on two things. The upload speed of your network at home, the internet upload speed. So if you have a subscription that's 100 megabits down and 10 megabits up, you'll probably be fine with CD quality. But if you go up into the high res range, it will eat up a lot of your upload speed. Then you're dependent on how good your mobile connection is. And we live in the Netherlands. Mobile connections here are pretty fast. Scandinavia as well. But maybe in some countries, if you're on the highway, your download speed for your from your mobile provider is not sufficient, and then it will not work. But Roon thought of that. Luckily, you can actually stream lossless if you're on Wi-Fi, and most of the time that's good enough. And if you're on the road and you're on a mobile connection and your subscription is not unlimited and you will pay a lot of money for your data, you can go down to MP3 quality. It will convert all the music into MP3 lossy format, which is good enough for on the road. And it will not cost you a lot of bandwidth, which is an issue if you're on the road and you have a limited subscription for data. But then you'll need a little bit of horsepower to convert that music into MP3. Well, luckily we live in 2022. Most systems will have enough power to convert all the lossless music into MP3. If it's in your library on your NAS drive. If you stream from Qobuz or Tidal, it will probably just grab the MP3 stream, which is also available on Qobuz and Tidal, and feed that to your phone or any device you are using for Roon Arc. That is a powerful function that is just built into Roon. You can actually use the settings in Roon Arc to say which stream you want for on-the-road use. With Plex, it's exactly the same. It can convert anything, even video, on the fly if you stream on a phone or a tablet or any mobile device or any device outside the home network. It will work. But with Plex, and we'll get into other services as well, with Plex it's much more complicated. You actually need to know what you're doing. It looks very user-friendly and easy to tweak the Plex settings, but it's actually pretty complicated and you can make a lot of mistakes. And that's the big difference between Plex and Roon Arc. Roon Arc, it's bulletproof, it's foolproof, you can't do anything wrong, it will work. It's just making choices. With Plex you can set bit rates, you can say which transcoding it has to use, it can buffer anything. So it's a very powerful multimedia package which also streams music in high quality, even lossless if you want to. But it's much more complicated. Then there are of course other packages, because if you want we can review Plex more in depth. We would love to, I love Plex. But let's get into other packages, because if you look at all the producers of NAS drives, network attached storage drives, they have their own applications. I mean, Synology and QNAP have their own streaming applications for music and even for video and surveillance stuff and everything you want. Why not use that? I mean, you already have a NAS drive, some of you. Why not use the streaming applications made by QNAP or Synology or Netgear? Well, it's actually pretty simple. If you use Roon already, you probably have integrated Tidal or Qobuz as well, or maybe both if you want. The NAS drive won't be able to integrate that into one library like Roon does. So you only have the music on your NAS drive, and you don't have your playlists, and you don't have the integration of those streaming services into your own library. That's a powerful feature made by Roon. We love it. We search for an artist, we get every album we want, even the ones that are not in our own library. But it just says, you know what, this is in your own library, but we found this on Tidal or Qobuz or whatever that's integrated. And you can listen to that as well. You can even integrate it in your own library, so you can just scroll through your library and you'll find everything you want. That's a powerful feature, and that's not built into any NAS application we know of. So, with that in mind, there's one other competitor that can do that actually, and that's Bubble UPnP. Maybe some of you know Bubble UPnP. We use it all the time for streamers or endpoints that are not Roon compatible. Most of the time they can actually use UPnP. So then we use Bubble UPnP to stream to that device. Bubble can actually integrate Cobus and Tidal. The thing is, Bubble UPnP isn't user-friendly. The interface is not intuitive. Even I, after years, click on the wrong button sometimes, and then I think, why doesn't it work? Oh, I'm streaming to my phone, I need to stream to that device, then I need to select the device, then you can connect anything to anything, which makes it really complicated. So in that sense, Bubble UPnP is definitely a very powerful application, but it's not made for user friendliness. It's handy for us because it will work with anything, and it can connect anything to anything, but it's not really intuitive. Bottom line, and I went all over the place, I'm sorry. Bottom line, Roon Arc is a very powerful feature that is now included in Roon. It can stream your library from your device to any place in the world where you connect the Roon Arc app to your ROON Core. Same login as your own ROON Core. I think they made an impressive addition to the whole Roon software package, and they did it right the first time, which is pretty unique, because most of the time when producers add a feature, it needs to grow. I'm not missing anything in the ROON Arc app. At the moment, I can see everything that I want. I can even transcode to lossy formats in case I want to. It's a really powerful addition, and it can compete with everything there is right now, which is impressive, to be honest. I didn't expect that. The only thing that they could have done is implement the ROON Arc app into the original Roon app by just make it stream locally or externally, but maybe that's too complex for some people, and it maybe could get confusing. But now there are two Roon apps. Not really confusing, but maybe for some it is. That's the only thing that I could think of, but for everything else, impressive job by Roon. I'm really impressed, and it's the most simple setup I've ever seen in my life. So kudos to that. I hope this video cleared some stuff up for people that didn't know what ROON Arc is and what it can do. Also by adding some competitors and naming some pros and cons of the competitors there are in the market. I hope to see you next time. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.